Hi everyone, welcome to today's live. I'm Jana Pohorsky from The Accountable Mindset. The topic of today's presentation and Q&A is about business plan and the foundations of a business plan. And this can be quite a daunting topic, as some of my clients have mentioned to me and people with whom I've been having conversations on this topic. So I really want to bust the myth of a business plan being something to be scared of, and also to introduce you to some foundations which are going to help you with becoming clear about what your business is about and the direction it's heading. So the foundation of this is that there's a business cycle. So businesses normally go through different stages of a cycle. And the first time a business is created, it's called a startup. So when a business is founded in the startup phase, you can expect to be testing your business model. Very often the founders are on their own or get minimal support, maybe some free support help from friends and family. There might be a business partner, but it's really all hands on deck, and everyone does whatever they need to. The next stage following the startup is the growth phase. And this is really when the business becomes more established. So at this point in time, there is already proof of concept, or there have been prototypes made of a product, and there are already customers, and there is a cycle of improvement and continuation as well that leads to growth. And this is also where the processes and systems have to be adapted to be able to standardize, optimize, and also start outsourcing, which is the foundation really and the basics if you want to grow a business. The third stage after startup growth, the third stage is maturity. And a mature business is a successful business that's up and running, that is successful in the marketplace or in its niche, and it generates revenue, customers, profit, and it really flourishes. And the fourth stage of a business is where it either has to adapt, and it adapts to changing needs of the market over time, or it disappears if it's not able to adapt to those changes. So, for example, the steam train got replaced by an electric train, and there was not that much that could do. So the pivot, you could argue, was the pivot from steam into an electric train for those companies which made that pivot into reflecting the innovation in that particular area. So these are the four business stages: startup, growth, maturity, and pivot or end of the business. And when people start setting up the business, often from home, they don't necessarily think about themselves as a startup. They might think about themselves as an entrepreneur or a business owner. However, it is something that is worth considering straight away. So it's not just in the corporate world where the startup is called such. And of course, if you want to raise capital, you might need a lot of detail in a business plan. However, even if you're just one person, one man band to start with, a single entrepreneur, founder, it can help enormously with really knowing where the business is heading, potentially also attracting some investors. When you actually have a business plan, the foundations that make it very clear, not just to yourself, but also to other parties, external parties, what your business is about and where it's heading. So the very first areas, I'm going to cover 4 areas from within a business plan, and also the details of what they are there to do and what you should be thinking about when you build that up. So if you have any questions, do let me know in the chat, and I'll answer them at the end of the live. So first of all, thinking about a business, that normally stems from a need, an opportunity. So when you start a business, very often you try to solve a problem. So being very clear in the business plan about what the problem is that you're actually looking to solve, who for. So this is then the second question: who has that problem? Because there might be a lot of very different people who have the problem. However, for various reasons, you might choose to focus on a segment of that market and really adapt your marketing, your sales, your strategy to focusing on that particular part of the market and targeting those potential customers. So being clear about what problem you solve and who for is very, very key. And also understanding then what the competition is. So who else plays in the market? Who else offers to solve the same or a similar problem for the same or maybe different segment of the market that you're looking at. And this is really important because ultimately what you have to define is your USP or unique selling proposition. And this is the unique nature of what you're offering, of the solution to the problem you're offering, or the audience you're offering it to, or how you're offering it, that makes you unique and different from what everyone else in that area is doing. So the USP, unique selling proposition, is a result of really thinking about what problem you solve, who for, and in what way. And then when this is becoming clear, it's part of the business plan is also looking at the vision and the mission for the business, because your business might be just and only profit driven, but actually you might decide that from every product, every service you sell, you might be donating a share to a charity or a cause that's close to your heart. And this is also part of the vision and the mission that you would set out for your business from the beginning. So these are the 3 points really for when you look at the opportunity. What is the vision, mission of your business? What problem do you solve, who for, and which way? That makes you different and unique from your competitors and the competition around you. So that's the opportunity is the first part of the business plan. The second part is when you have a product and a service that solves a problem, where you've tested that there is a good response, people are actually buying it. The next step is to see how can you really reach more people. So offer more people the opportunity to buy your product or a service, because what you don't want to ever be is the best kept secret. So being a secret will never allow you to sell a larger number of products or services, which is really what you want. You want to grow your business over time and really reach through. For this, you need to reach more people, more audiences, and make more sales. So understanding who you're marketing to, so the audience we spoke about before, but also what are the best marketing channels? So, is it online? Is it offline? Are these people who are going to particular events or people who you can find in a very particular context? So, for example, when you are looking to sell to maybe mothers, you would be looking at, if you know anyone in your environment who's a mother, so you can test with them, but also in the environment, friends and family, are there other mothers who might need your product, need your service, and ideally even get an introduction. So there's nothing more powerful than word of mouth when it comes to sales. And where you're scaling as well, you might look at whether you can bring in external support for your marketing, so experts, and also for your sales. So salespeople, and you don't have to consider employing them straight away. You can actually look at other ways of starting off the business, where there could be commission-based, for example, or work based on a number of hours that you agree. Not everyone who you bring into your company straight away, it has to be employed. So there's a lot of different ways of getting support from others to grow the business without having to commit to a full-time employment. Once you have sold the product or the service, you have to deliver it to the clients. And thinking about how you're going to do it. So the whole life cycle really is where the product, the service starts and how it ultimately ends with the client, either as a product in the house or wherever they're using it, or as a service that you provide to them. Thinking about, if it's a product, how you're going to manufacture it, where are the materials going to come from, which country are you going to manufacture it in, how are you going to ship it to, first of all, to where it needs to, where the materials become a product, but then also to the customer. So all the logistics you have to consider as well. Anything to do with quality standards and requirements, for example, for children's toys, there are very stringent requirements in some countries, but less stringent one in others. So understanding really, again, which markets have which needs and requirements is part of looking at the operation. Also, you might need equipment, you might potentially need an office. Of course, at the moment, a lot of people are working remotely. However, there are services and products where the client still really likes to see what they're getting. And great examples, for example, property. So a lot of people have been doing remote viewings and these have been offered. However, a lot of people still really want to go and see before they make this one of the biggest purchases in their life, and if not the biggest one. Before they buy a property, they actually really want to see it. They want to see the area and get a feel for what going into that house, going into that flat would be like if they were to buy it. So that is important. Also, if you have any suppliers, again, when you manufacture a service or product, which suppliers are you going to choose, what terms and conditions you're going to have with them, payment terms as well. And for payment terms, it actually applies to your clients and customers as well. So you have to decide, are there going to be payment plans? Is everything cash? Is it upfront? Are there any other ways, any other payment options that you want to offer to them to increase sales? And then also everything that comes with the product. You might, for example, look at teaming up with other producers, other service providers, and offer effectively an ecosystem of products as well. This would be then part of the marketing and sales, where however this might also impact how you ship, how you deliver a service to the client when you offer jointly with someone else. So around the visibility part of the business plan, the last point I'd like to mention is the milestones and metrics. And this is really about you being in control of your business, not necessarily being physically inside the business all the time. And this is, again, really, really important when you have remote parts of the business. So, for example, if you have a franchise, or if you manufacture products in different parts of the country, of the world. So knowing exactly what the process is and knowing what you have to measure to be in control of that process and to ensure that the process is actually delivered to the standard and the quality and deadlines that are required for customer satisfaction, and based on the agreements with suppliers as well and everyone else, is really critical. And for that, having those key performance indicators or KPIs, metrics in place, is going to really give you a good visibility of where things are going to be. And when you first set it up, you will have certain milestones that you will want to track around number of sales, for example, or even how many potential clients you reach through your marketing and sales activities before they buy, the leading indicators. And these are all elements of the business plan that you're going to establish and set up at the very beginning. So we have now spoken about A, the opportunity, and B, the visibility that need to be covered in a business plan. The third part of a business plan I like to speak about is company, and that's the company setup in particular, which is both the legal structure, but also the team, the people inside the company. So when you set out on your own with the business, there are different legal ways how you can set up the business. It could be in your name, it could be in a limited company structure, a partnership, and those can vary across the world. So different countries have slightly varying systems. What is important is when you set up a business is to speak to people, and this is where it links into team. You need absolutely a tax advisor, an accountant, that's one person, one expert, and also a solicitor or a legal aid, someone who understands how the legal part of a company needs to be operated. And the reason for that is to bring those two individuals into as your consultants and members of the external team effectively, is to make sure that everything that you do is, first of all, legally compliant, but also that you set everything up to the best possible tax effect for your business. So leveraging any grants that are available, any tax breaks, understanding really what support there is for startups, and how to manage that. This is really where a tax advisor is absolutely invaluable. And again, how you set up legally can also impact how you're being taxed. So this is why these two experts are absolutely key when you first start up a business. And in terms of any other team members, this really depends on where you are. So within your business and how much time you have, how much money you have, and how much knowledge you have. So normally, what you try to do is bring in help and support maybe in an area where you have less strength. It can be a question of efficiency, of course, as well. So for example, when I started out last year, very quickly, I started to standardize and optimize a search process for properties, so I could hand it over to a virtual assistant. And this has been really invaluable because it freed me up to do other things instead of repeating the same process over and over. So while I'm based in the UK, the virtual assistant who works with me is based in the Philippines. So once a week we get together, we agree what has been done, we go through what has been done, and also look at what needs to be done the week ahead. And she does a lot of the work that frees me then up to do other things and work not in the business but on the business and looking ahead. So in terms of setting teams up, remember that there's a lot of different options how to get in support on an ad hoc basis, and very flexible as well. So this is the third part of a business plan, the element of team. And then the fourth part and last individual part of a business plan is really the financial element. And this is specifically looking at two parts. One is the income revenue, so the forecasting ahead of what that's going to look like as well, and looking at the costs of the business and also forecast them against the expected revenue or income. And understanding really how much revenue income there is versus the costs the business incurs, the investments, the production costs, the promotional costs, and so forth. Ultimately, when you compare those two, what is left is profit or loss. And this is very simplified, of course, but these are really the principles why it's so important to go into business planning also looking at numbers. And I know not everyone is comfortable with numbers or doesn't want to start thinking about a business and a passion through the prism of numbers, but this is something that is going to hurt you if you don't know what's going on. So 80% of businesses fail in the first 3 years, and most of that is because of cash flow issues. So if you don't have money to pay your suppliers, to pay for your product, to pay for your marketing and sales where you need it, to pay maybe for the services that someone provides to you so you're able to generate that product or that service, then you are not going to be able to continue with your business. So cash flow, being able to pay bills and expenses is really the thing to look out for everyone who starts up a business, and really understanding your numbers before you start or when you start up is important for the longevity of your business. So these are the 4 elements of a basic business plan. So it's the opportunity. So what is the business going to do? Which problem is the business to solve and who for? Secondly, the visibility. How are you going to communicate, show others what problem you solve and how you solve it for them? Thirdly, it's the team, so company, the team and the structure of the business. And finally is the financial setup, so forecasting both on the revenue and the cost side. And when you have all these parts filled in, then it's great to have an executive summary up front if someone is just interested in the very high level of your business, the high level summary, and also potentially an elevator pitch or a strap line as well, with your name, that's going to help them understand what your business is all about in a very short space of time. So that's in summary really the foundations of a business plan. If there are any questions, do let me know. While you're thinking about it, there are a couple of questions that consistently come up when I speak to colleagues, when I speak to other business owners, when I speak to clients. And the first one is, first of all, do I really need a business plan if I'm just starting out and, there isn't that much activity yet, I'm still testing? And my answer is, a business plan is actually something that helps you structure your thoughts. So when you look at who you're servicing, which problem you solve, who for, in which way, these are really fundamental questions. Whether you put them into a format that's a business plan or not, you still have to answer these basic questions. If you don't know how to pay your bills while your business is starting up, this is not going to allow you to continue very much longer after the initial launch with the business. And these are really all parts of the business plan that you have to answer, whatever you call it. So business plan, again, it's a term, but ultimately it covers a number of questions and areas you have to think about and cover off in your preparations to really understand where you're heading and how healthy your business is and how quickly it's going to grow. So yes, you need to answer these questions, whether you call it a business plan or not, it doesn't really matter. But the questions that are covered by the basic business plan are questions you have to answer anyway if you want to have a sustainable business. So that's the first question. Second question that comes up is people say, actually, I don't know how to prepare a business plan. And again, this is not something that necessarily gets taught in schools, obviously, and unless you have worked for a startup with a startup, or you're familiar with what business plans look like, and maybe you've prepared one, this is not something that's common for people to do and be familiar with. So what I've done is I've found a really good basic template for a business plan, which covers all the main points. It also covers a lot more detail at the very end around finances and the profit and loss P&L. However, because this is the part that would be normally prepared by the accountant, do not worry about it too much. Have a look at the first, it's 12, 13 pages, which are really focusing on and describing the initial 4 parts that I have walked you through today. So you are able, hopefully, to fill those in and really get a better clarity on your plan, on your business, and on how to build the success of your business from day one. So I'm going to put this into the comments, so you can download this and use it for reference. If you have any questions about it, you can always contact me on joanna@theaccountable-mindset.com, or you can drop me a line. I'm on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and also obviously on Facebook, there is the Accountable Mindset community where you're welcome anytime. So thank you very much for listening and watching today. If you have any questions about how to set up a business plan, do get in touch. And otherwise, I will see you very soon. Thank you very much and good night.